Andy Nowicki, altrightnovelist.com. I've been thinking a little bit about my entire method of presentation and why I do what I do with this YouTube channel for the amount of time that I've been doing it. What sparked me to want to start making YouTube videos, what I'm after here, what I'm trying to accomplish here, and so forth. And I've also been thinking about some of the ways in which I've been perceived by my audience based on certain things that I've heard, certain things that I gather, just in a general sense. And while this might end up being a slightly navel-gazing video, I think maybe something interesting will come of it. So let's just see. Let's see what happens. A little while ago, a couple weeks ago, I believe it was, when I was still in exile from this page and was contributing to my fugitive YouTube channel, S.A. Nowicki, I recorded a video that was about 20 minutes long, and it was somewhat of a soul-searching kind of video in a way. And later I reposted it here at this page, since I was able to get back on here after my 2-week suspension for bogus reasons, but that's not worth going into right now. So I posted it again here earlier this week, and that video was entitled, "Why Am I Obsessed with Status?" So in that video, I was wanting to more or less just examine myself, not really examine myself because I already knew the answer. It wasn't like I was picking up much of anything on the fly, but I wanted to just reveal, for those who might be interested, why status, the issue of status, the issue of embracing the label of low status male, and just being interested, if not obsessed, as I put it in the video, obsessed with the very question of status, and how status relates to integrity, how avoiding how resisting the temptation to make status an issue for yourself, how that is an essential matter for one's integrity as a man, in my view. And so I talked about that in that previous video, and if you haven't seen it and you're interested in the topic, you can check it out. I don't want to rehash much of anything about it here. But as I said, it was a slightly what I would, with some derision, call navel-gazing video, in that I did talk about myself in somewhat generalized terms. But interestingly, it seemed to be perceived, both from the ones who saw it on the old page and from those who saw it when I posted it here on this channel, it seemed to be perceived a certain way, as like some of y'all seem to see it as a cry for help, which is amusing. Frankly, it is amusing. Like I was, I don't know, soliciting advice for how I ought to proceed with these things. What should I do? How can I? How do I deal with these issues that are vexing me. That's how it was perceived by some, and some duly gave me some advice, whether it was in the comments or communication with me personally, or however it happened to happen. Now, as I said, this was kind of funny to me that it was received in this way by some, but it got me to thinking. You know, there is, and maybe I've said this before, but to reiterate, there is an aspect of my personality that is, you could say, somewhat exhibitionistic. I think I am somebody who needs to perform in some mode or manner. It's something that I've always had. I've enjoyed being in front of others, whether it's on stage or on video or however. I've enjoyed performance. And in my writing, you know, in writing, when one writes, it doesn't entirely satisfy your desire for performing if you are somebody who has the need or the knack to be a performer. And I think that's partly why I started doing these videos. Before I did these videos, I was on SoundCloud, and I was recording podcasts there. And that was also, there was certainly a performance aspect to those podcasts as well. But I think there is something about having the visual component. Again, even when you're not, like, and I've said this before, you know, I don't particularly have that much shame about how I look. I don't get up in the morning, look at myself in the mirror and think, dear God, why are you subjecting people to your visage? There's absolutely nothing special about your visage, about your face. No, I mean, I get up, and when I see myself in the mirror, I actually like what I see. I actually, you know, I'm aware, I'm humble, I'm modest, but I don't mind subjecting you people to my my lovely face and having you hear my lovely voice. So that, and I think that's a part of the desire to be a performer. Now, the problem is that if taken too far, this desire to perform can become self-indulgent. And I may have gone over that line a time or two. It's possible that I have. I know that I haven't indulged in, there are many ways that I know I am holding back. And there are many things that you will never hear about, believe me. There are things that I will not talk about. And I've never really gotten that personal here on this channel, or really anywhere when I've done these types of things, whether they're videos or podcasts, these spoken word kind of presentations. I've never really been that specific about many things that are quite personal. And there's a ton more that I could say, but that I'm never going to say. And that I don't want to say, because I don't think it would be, you know, there'd be some interest in it. I guess I understand curiosity. I understand from your perspective, if you're watching this, I understand maybe you're curious about certain things about me, about aspects of my life, or whatever, as I'm currently living it. And from my perspective, you know, there's the appeal of performance, and there's something about putting yourself out there in a way that that is on the that is right on the borderline of cringe, or maybe over the border of cringe. There's something about the idea of daring to be cringy, as people say these days. And I think it's a useful term, cringe and cringy. I think it does point to a phenomenon that is worth pointing out. And I you know, again, as a performer, as somebody who likes to perform, as somebody who is drawn to performance, there is an appeal to wanting to be really edgy and out there. And I think that a part of performance, part of what makes performance appealing, is the vulnerability of it. Or it is the kind of push-pull, let's say, between wanting to be assertive, wanting to be strong, wanting to project impressiveness. That's the ego side, you know, the side that wants to puff yourself up. But on the other hand, it's also the side that wants to be dignified. Wants to avoid being indulgent. There's that side of things, and then there's the other side of things that just really, a part of you really wants to go out there and go as far out there as you feel like going, and be as truthful, be as candid. Well, you should always be truthful, but to be as candid. You know, you tell the truth, but it's not necessarily the whole truth, and it's not necessarily nothing but the truth. Well, it should be nothing but the truth. I keep amending what I'm saying. Everything that I say here should be, if I'm doing things right, nothing but the truth. And it should be the truth. The whole truth, no. Not even close. I'm not going to talk about the whole truth. And yet, part of me wishes that I could, or would like to. And I do think that there is something important about being willing to be vulnerable. And that is something that I think some people out there with their egos just don't ever want to be vulnerable. Can't fathom the idea of being vulnerable. Can't tolerate the notion of vulnerability, of projecting vulnerability, because it would it would get in the way of how they're trying to present themselves to their audience as a big, strong man who is number one, who kicks ass and all that. And so, anyway, I'm running low on batteries here, so I'm going to end this soon. Maybe if I have a little bit more to say, I'll add a little bit later. But I think I'll wrap that up for now, and maybe think it over and think if I have anything else to say on this subject. Andy Nowicki, altrightnovelist.com.